I've heard a quote not too long ago, and it said, genetics loads the gun and environment pulls the trigger. And I sort of feel like it's more our perception of the environment that pulls the trigger. And I wonder if you have any comments to add around that, or if you can explain some of what that might mean and what your take is.
Sure. I mean, let's start with genes. Genes are like Christmas tree lights. They're turning on and off all the time. And your body in itself is a protein-producing machine. And proteins are responsible for the structure and the function of your body. And proteins, the expression of proteins literally is the expression of life. So science used to say that genes create disease. Well, less than 1% of the people on the planet are born with a genetic condition like Tay-Sachs disease or sickle cell anemia or type 1 diabetes. The other 95 to 99% is from lifestyle and behaviors. So what we found out is that the science began to say that it's the environment that signals the gene. And yet, you could have two people working side by side in the same factory, both exposed to the same carcinogenic chemical. One gets cancer and the other doesn't. So then there must be some internal order that is also the outer environment of the cell. So think about this. If science says the environment signals the gene, the end product of an experience in your environment is called an emotion. It's our emotional reactions to the environment that tend to select and instruct different genes to make different proteins. So once you have an experience in your life that causes you to feel pain or sadness or guilt or shame or anger or fear, most people are defined by that emotion, and then those emotions tend to drive their thoughts. Their thoughts then produce the same chemicals for them to feel the same emotions, and those emotions influence their same thoughts, and they get caught in these loops. Now, the body is the unconscious mind, and it doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion that you're creating by thought alone. So the body's believing it's in the same environmental condition 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because the same emotion is still affecting the same cell. And now we're headed for a genetic destiny. So then can you teach people then how to signal the gene ahead of the experience? And the answer is yes. By combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion, not fear or anger or hostility or guilt or shame, but instead gratitude, joy, freedom, and the love for life, is it possible then that that person can begin to regulate that state and knock on the genetic door, turn on a new light, turn off an old light? That new light makes a new protein. The protein is responsible for the structure and function of the body. And all of a sudden the person has some type of biological change. And the answer is yes. We've measured it enough times to tell you that's absolutely possible.
Incredible. Thank you for that amazing explanation. So what, just to take from that, so what you are saying is that literally, if we are setting an intention for our lives and choosing our thoughts and how that impacts our emotional state, we are directly impacting how our genes express themselves.
Exactly. So let's create a contrast. People wake up in the morning, they come back to their senses. The first thing they do is they start thinking about their problems, and those problems are connected to people and places at certain times in their life, and those problems produce emotions like unhappiness or sadness or anger or frustration. So the brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment. Feelings and emotions are the end product of the past experience. So how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So most people, they wake up in the morning and their entire state of being is in the past. So they're going to show up predictable in their life. Their past is literally going to be their future, and their future is going to be more of their past. So then how do we get out of the biological past and into a new future? When you combine a clear intention, a vision, a new possibility in your mind, and the thought in your mind literally becomes the experience, the end product of the experience is called an emotion. You should start feeling inspired, enthusiastic, overjoyed. When you combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, your brain and body move from living in the past present reality to living in the future present reality, and now you're in a new state of being. The act of repeating that enough times begins to install, it begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain and begins to condition your body no longer into the past, but now into the future. And now you're in a new state of being. And a new state of being is a new personality. And a new personality is connected to a new personal reality.